help me, please. You have to find it. I know. They know that I know. You have to find this book. This book. Understand? You have to find it. Hey there, YouTube. Don't worry. I'm fine. I hope you liked that intro, though. It was really fun to make. We're here for the second episode of I almost said Off the Spinner. Off the Shelf. Still new to this. And we're here to talk about a book that is actually new to my shelf. I just got it, just read it. It's called The Last Oracle by a guy named James Rollins, if you can't read his name in this big old print here. Now, he has written some other stuff. There's a book called The Judas Strain, which I really hope I find someday, because it sounds really cool. But we're not here to talk about that one. We're here to talk about this one. James Rollins, I'm only judging this based on the one book, but he appears to have a very interesting writing style. It's not bad, but it's very information-driven. His language isn't very flowery. There's not an excess of metaphors or similes or personification or any of those other terms that you learned in 4th grade English. There's just a story. So in that sense, it's very simple, but it works. Now, the basic story of the novel is that some former KGB people are experimenting on autistic children. They're trying to engineer an autistic savant who will be the next great prophet, along the lines of Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha. Just based on reading the jacket and the first couple of chapters, I kept waiting for them to interject some kind of like Antichrist thing or an apocalypse reference from the Bible, you know? But strangely enough, there isn't any of that in this book. Is that a bad thing? Not really. But at the same time, it makes this seem a little bit more out there. Like, if there's no religious basis for it, then this is all stuff that is supposed to be scientifically possible. I kind of learned from Dan Brown's novels to be careful what I believe based on a novel. So before I go any further with this novel, I'm about to issue a spoiler warning! Yeah, don't go watching any more of this if you actually want to read the book for yourself. Just in case you want to continue on watching my video, though, I will be putting up here the time which you should skip ahead to when I stop talking about spoiler stuff, okay? So, alright, should be good. So, for a book that is titled The Last Oracle, I found it kind of disappointing how little of the story was actually about ancient Greece and the actual oracle herself. There was a lot of stuff about India and gypsies and a lot of the Russian spy stuff. He had a whole world open to him with that concept, and it just feels like he just kind of left it behind. I do find the radiation stuff that he talks about in this movie, in this book, kind of concerning. I want to say movie because it really could be a movie, the way it's written. In any case, I found the radiation stuff a bit worrying, and I really do hope that some preventive measures have been taken since 2008. Now to something that's a little bit more critical of the book itself. His writing style is very simple, and I just wish there was a little bit more given to the characters themselves. They didn't really stick out to me. Gray was basically your generic spy from any spy movie. He was James Bond, he was Jason Bourne, he was a badass fighter with just enough smarts and cleverness to know a little bit about everything and get by. And then there was Kowalski, I think that's how you're going to pronounce it. He was basically just your generic brute sidekick. And all of the children that were being experimented on were pretty much interchangeable. It was barely worth keeping track of their names because most of them didn't even do anything. I guess that's what the problem is that the characters themselves do not have personal problems in the story. They only have the one big problem that unites them all, which is kind of like jumping into the Avengers movie without having all of the other movies to set up the characters themselves. If we didn't have all those movies and they just gave us the Avengers, yeah, it's cool, but we're just wondering, okay, who are these people? What's their deal? Moving on, I did kind of find the ending of the book to be a little bit crossing over from the line of science fiction to fantasy realm. By that point in the book, it is certainly believable for an ending. It's just, once again, this book, I suppose the best way I can say this is the book is good. It really, really is good. It just has these little things that, although they don't take away from it's just like, why wasn't this done better? Why? I think the really unfortunate thing about this is that because the bad guys are straight up Russian, you can't really make it into a modern movie at any point in time. Indiana Jones 4 kind of proved this. If you have Russians as your bad guys and it is not an actual period piece, you're kind of screwed. Your Russian spies have got to be made sympathetic, which really doesn't lend to them being good bad guys. And they're certainly not very sympathetic in this book. On the other hand, there was an organization in here mentioned called the Jasons. I don't know, maybe if they made a movie out of it, they'd switch it up and have it be that the Jason organization were the bad guys. I don't know. That seems kind of cool. So thank you for all of you guys who have stuck it out until now. In the end, this is a pretty decent book. It's full of action and suspense and mystery. Overall, I give it a 3.3 out of 5. The characters are a little bit too simple, the ending's a little bit too crazy, but it's still very good just to read. That being said, I can't see the future. I'm not an oracle. However, I do have a bit of a prophecy for you guys. You shall see the end through eyes not your own, and seek new wisdom from tales of renown. You shall reach for a novel you've just seen today, and record your mind, for you move off on your way, spreading knowledge of one whose words you now follow, and return to his dwelling upon the morrow. Bye!